Something really strange is happening in Christian countries. Another church mysteriously burned down in Quebec, Canada. But that's not it. Check out this one. This one in Scotland. St. John. This church is called St. John's in Stirlingshire. Why is it happening, guys? Why is it happening? And obviously, last month we had 4 churches vandalized and burned through firebombs in New York. Why is that happening? So I've been talking about this for a while. And actually, let me make another prediction. This is going to happen in Australia as well. We are not used to hearing churches catching fire in Australia at this point in August 2026. But let me tell you, you will suddenly start hearing the news of random churches catching fire. It's going to happen in Adelaide, the city of churches. It's going to happen in Melbourne. Because for some reason, whenever, I'm not obviously implying with 100% certainty because we don't have the data. Actually, this is more interesting. I'll leave you to decide what's happening. Let me read some facts with you, okay? Canada. A CBC investigation reported 33 churches burned to the ground between May 2021 and January 2024. So that's about 10 a year. Of those, 24 were confirmed arsons. 2 were accidental, okay? And the remainder was suspicious or still under investigation. In Europe, the picture is even murkier. OIDAC Europe reported 94 arson attacks on churches and other Christian sites in 2024 alone, nearly double the 2023 figure. So in 2023, it would have been 50 churches, 50 arson attacks on churches. And in 2024, the number has shot up to 94. Roughly a third were in Germany. Now, here's another interesting point that I wanted to read. So the ChatGPT did its best to make sure that I don't assume things. It says, if you're asking whether there's evidence the church arsons were predominantly committed by Muslims or migrants, no, the available data doesn't support that conclusion. So let's have a look at the data. What does the data say? For Europe, the picture is even less suitable for making a demographic claim. OIDAC's figure of 94 arson attacks in 2024 does not provide a comprehensive breakdown of the arsonists by religion, immigration status, or ethnicity. It records the incident, not a unified perpetrator profile. Why not? Why not? Why not? So when I pushed back, it said, here's the strange part. In a large number of these cases, we still don't know who did it. Why don't we know who did it? Why? That naturally leads to speculation, but speculation isn't evidence. So I'm not going to tell you Muslims did it, indigenous activists did it, although there were a couple of cases of a couple of indigenous activists in Canada doing that, or anyone else did it. We simply don't know. But what we do know is that churches have repeatedly been targeted by arson, and in many cases, the perpetrators remain unidentified. So what should we do about this information? That's a huge number of churches getting burned down. 94 in Europe in 2024 alone, and 33 in Canada. 33? And these are stone buildings, guys, okay? These are not very flammable buildings. They're catching fire. They're just spontaneously catching fire. What's going on? I don't know. As I said, because we don't have official data, therefore, I'm not going to speculate, but I will raise it as a cause for concern. Now, why these churches that have stood up for hundreds of years are now suddenly catching fire as these countries become more and more multicultural. This golden saying of Muhammad might have something to do with this. This is Sahih Muslim 530b. The messenger of Allah, Muhammad, said, "Let there be curse of Allah upon the Jews and the Christians, for they have taken the graves of their apostles as places of worship." So Muhammad disliked churches and synagogues. He disliked them because he believed that this is shirk. Shirk is the single biggest sin in Islam, where you associate gods with God. For example, Christians believe that Jesus is God or Jesus is the Son of God. That is an eternal sin in Islam, above forgiveness. You can't be forgiven for that. You can be forgiven for murder, for rape, but you cannot be forgiven for shirk, i.e., associating gods with the one true God. This is the reason why Muslims do this to churches. This happened in England. They don't like churches. They don't like churches. This guy is a Muslim, a convicted Muslim. Well, check this out. I was looking for a different video, but I found this. This happened last month on the 7th of July, Bordeaux, France. Another church torched. Another church. Again, I don't know. I don't know who's behind it. It could be those nasty atheists who hate Christianity. Could be them. I don't know. You guess. Look at this. This is what they do in their own home countries. This is Pakistan. Look at that. This guy is probably living in Europe right now because Europe has an open border policy. Anyone can jump on a boat and come to Europe. This is Damascus. Yeah, this happened June 2025. Look, there you go. Look at this. They set fire to Church of St. James somewhere in Bosnia. Medjugorje shrine in Bosnia and vandalized the statues of Virgin Mary. Look at this. Look at this. He just walks in. Look at that. Just does it. There you go. Completely unprovoked. Nobody said anything to him. You know why? He has read that saying of Muhammad. May Allah curse the Jews and Christians. This is Cyprus. He goes into a church, harasses the priest. Look at this. He's harassing the priest. And basically telling him to recite the Shahada, where Muslims make non-Muslims say the Shahada, that I bear witness that Allah is the one true God and Muhammad is his last prophet. He's actually telling him to say that, and he's reacting to it. Saying bugger off. Look at this, guys. How did that happen? This happened in Antwerp. Masked Islamist men set fire to a car outside a Jewish-owned restaurant in Antwerp in what is now being described as another anti-Semitic terrorist attack. Okay, that doesn't involve a church. This is Montreal, Canada. February. Why is this happening, guys? Why is this happening, guys? Why is this happening so frequently? Look at that. These are stone buildings. Why are they catching fire? What's happening? Suddenly, Japan, the Shinto temples are suddenly starting to catch fire in Japan as well. There you go. A group of Afghan, oh, well, look, I don't know. I can't verify if what he's saying is correct, but I'm just going to stick to churches catching fire. This is a church in Ireland. No wonder the Irish are angry. Look at this. This is a church in Ireland. Why is this happening? Why is this happening on such a big scale? Look at this. This woman is in London. And she's no respect for other religions. Look at this.
Disgrace, you disrespected the space.
No.
You disrespected the space.
Oh, praise God! How does he look like?
Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jewish man who lived.
Show me the proof. Where's your proof?
The proof is in the Bible. It's in history. Josephus.
I'm here.
She can't even go into a mosque, and here she is sitting like that in a church and challenging and having a theological debate in this manner. Why do we tolerate this? Why? You don't have to tolerate this, guys. You don't have to tolerate this. You have to grow a spine. You have to push back. This is an evil, aggressive, invasive ideology. And I'm sorry to say, every single Western country of note is somehow succumbing to it.